school and the many aspects of our school that make Episcopal such a special place. For those of you who are learning more about us tonight in this virtual manner, but who haven't had a chance to visit us on campus, we really hope that you'll come to visit in person as well. This is such an exciting place, and it's hard to fully appreciate it in this kind of a medium when you're on campus and you're seeing the students and the adults in action. It's really a terrific way to get a great sense for the school. Tonight, we're going to have a mix of opportunities for you to hear from our students as well as from a number of adults here to try to give you as good a sense of Episcopal as we can. But with that, I'm going to turn things over to our Director of Admissions, Mr. Scott Conklin, who will talk a little bit more about the logistics for tonight. But again, thank you so much for being with us.
Great. Thank you, Charlie, and welcome everybody. We're thrilled that you could join us for this virtual open house. We hope it's a helpful hour or so to learn more about the things that we think make Episcopal special. Just a few housekeeping items. One, I wanted to let you know that we will be recording this for the families that aren't able to attend. I would ask you to mute your microphones as we go through this and encourage you to have your cameras on if you're comfortable with that. And as questions come up as we're going through our student panel and our faculty panel, if you could put those in the chat and we'll have those read by our panelists and distributed to the students to answer those questions. We'll also be answering some of the questions right in the chat room. But with that, we're excited to have you. We're going to have a student panel for about 30 minutes, so I hope you get some questions ready for them. Then they have to get off to study hall for the evening, and we'll have a number of our faculty members jump in. And then we'll finish the night with a quick overview of the application process. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Spears and our students.
Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Spears, and I'm the assistant head for student life, and that means more than anything that I get to work with the awesome students of Episcopal High School, a half a dozen of which you're going to get to hear from right now. So I'm going to quickly move to your hearing from them and let them introduce themselves by telling you their name and their hometown and how long they've been at Episcopal and one thing that they really love about the school. So I'm going to start, we'll just go alphabetically, starting with Burnham, and then Carson, Cover, Joe, Jordan, and Margaret in that order. Burnham, if you would take it away with a quick intro of yourself.
Yes, sir, Mr. Spears. I'm Burnham DeBose. I'm a senior, originally from Charlotte. I came here as a new sophomore. I think I hit it all, but one thing I love about Episcopal is the sports teams and just the connections you make. I haven't played soccer at all, and I decided to play soccer this year. And surprisingly, I don't know how, but I made the team, and I play a little bit, not a lot, but just love the sports teams. Just love the relationships you build with people on those, and yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Carson Coburn. I'm a four-year senior, originally from Breslau, Ontario, up in Canada. And something that I really love about Episcopal, I would say just how close we are to DC and how we use DC to our advantage. Like going on flex blocks, weekend activities, we can go to Commanders games, like Georgetown basketball games, and just kind of being outside of the city, but being able to use it for learning and for pleasure.
Hi everyone, my name is Cover Dixon. I'm a four-year senior from McLean, Virginia. And my favorite thing about Episcopal is definitely the relationships that students are able to form with each other, and then also our ability to have relationships with the teachers and just help us get everything that we need situated, and just the teachers are kind of like help as your second family away from home.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe. I'm a four-year senior, and I'm from Daejeon, South Korea. And my favorite thing about Episcopal is the dorm life here. Like, we're kind of unique in a way that it's 100% boarding. And, like back in like middle school or like elementary school, sleeping over with your friend was like one of the most exciting things. But like here, that's like every day, and you get to be super close with your roommates, and you get to also be really close with your dorm mates, and we also do this thing called dorm games at the beginning of the year. It's like Harry Potter. It's like a battle between like the dorms, and it's really exciting. It's really fun.
Hi everyone, I'm Jordan. I'm from Jackson, New Jersey. I came as a new sophomore and I'm currently a senior. And I would say my favorite part of EHS is like we're a small-ish school, but since we all live together, like Joe said, it's very unique to 100% boarding. It's really fun to be able to name every single person on campus. And then you realize that once you know someone's name, they like you constantly know who they are every time you see them. So it's really nice to like be able to recognize a new face and then know who I'm looking at every time I see them across campus.
Hi everyone, my name is Margaret Hodges. I'm from Albany, Georgia, and my favorite thing about Episcopal is the community, and I've also been here since I was a freshman and I'm currently a junior.
All right. I'm going to throw one more questions at the students and encourage all of you who are here visiting with us tonight from around the country and possibly from around the world to go ahead and put some questions you have for our students in the chat. But high schoolers, Episcopal high schoolers, current students, what is what has been one of your favorite flex blocks? And you'll hear more about this as you get to know Episcopal prospective students, where we have class in DC. And last year we had over 600 classes in DC that students attended. And I wanted these 6 student leaders to have a chance to tell you what's a flex block that has stuck with them and why. Margaret, we'll start back with you and go back to the top to Burnham. So starting with Margaret and heading back towards Burnham up the alphabet. Margaret, what's one flex block that you've really enjoyed in your time here?
Yeah, so my all-time favorite flex block was when I got to go-karting with my physics class freshman year. That was definitely a highlight. We got to break it up into 2 sections. So half of our class went one night, the other went the other. And I remember with my group, we got to compete, and it was like a super cool experience because we also were learning about like speed and like everything else that really correlated with that class. So it was fun to like have a fun activity to really like understand it even more. I remember I got second place with my group. So that was a highlight for sure. But that was definitely my favorite flex block that I've been on.
Great. Jordan, how about you?
My favorite flex block was also for physics. I took physics my junior year though, so we didn't go-karting. We actually went to Sky Zone. And I would say that was my favorite because it was a way to see my physics teacher in a new light. We've never seen him really goof around and have fun. He's a pretty serious guy, and he's never been to a trampoline park. So that was the first time that he ever went, and it was super funny to watch him like try to do all the flips. And then he got into a flipping competition with one of the kids in our class and almost won, but he sadly lost.
How about it, Joe?
For me, all-time best flex block is definitely my computer science class flex block. We went to laser tag this one night, and I think our objective was to like understand like the software system and like laser tag, but you know, we're kids and like, you know, we just went there and had so much fun. Like, you know, we divided into 2 teams and we had like, I think like 4 rounds. It was like about 2 hours. It was really fun just hanging out with my friends and my classmates.
Cover?
My favorite flex block that I had was for my Chinese class, and I think this was sophomore year. It was a group of students that were chosen to go to the US Asia Institute and help with a Mid-Autumn Festival event that they were having. And what we did was we went and volunteered and just helped set up. And we also got to meet ambassadors and lots of different people from the Hill, and it was really, really cool just to be able to have that experience and help out with that.
Cars.
My favorite flex block was also for my computer science class. We went to this data analytics firm called Big League Advance, and basically they're a venture capital firm, but for minor league baseball players. So they code these models, and we'll put in minor league baseball player stats, and the model will basically spit out a number of their potential future career earnings. And based on that, they'll offer a lump sum of money for like a certain percentage of the player's future earnings. So like 10% for 500 grand. And they kind of treat it like they'll offer it to 400 players and hope that, 40 make that money back plus profit. And it was just really cool learning about how the Python code we were learning in class can be used in so many different ways that you wouldn't normally think of.
Burnham.
Jordan took mine. It was the trampoline park, but I definitely have another one. This year I'm taking a class called Advanced Middle East with Dr. Rowe, and we're kind of learning about the Ottoman Empire and the influence of Islam. And I'm personally a Christian, but we went to a mosque and got to see like how Islamic people worship and the stages and what they go through. And it was really cool to just like gain a perspective on a new religion and like go to an actual place of worship where I would never go in another case. And that was really fun. And then another reason I love flex blocks is because usually after, you do the fun stuff or you do the work, you get to go eat food off campus and you get to go like Chipotle, Five Guys, Chick-fil-A. It's just, it's nice. I like them.
So I'm going to continue to encourage anyone who wants to put a question on, and here our first one's coming in here for the students about technology on campus. Students on their cell phones, and how much are they on them on their cell phones around the campus during the school day and night, and then how about faculty using AI tools in the classroom? So why don't we have, let's see, Jordan and Carson take cell phones on campus. And Margaret and Joe, why don't you two talk about how does faculty, use AI tools?
Yeah, I can start with the cell phones. So I would say coming to boarding school is definitely a big concern, especially for parents about cell phone use. And at Episcopal, it's really like kind of on dorm, it's up to you. But then during the academic day, which is 8:15 to 3:15, it's basically during class we walk into class and there's these little cubbies for our phones. We put them in there at the start of class, and then at the end of class we can get them. And then during academic days, during lunch, we have tech-free lunches. So if you're in the dining hall, you're not on any technology, no computers, no phones, no iPads, and you're just sitting at tables with people, like talking and connecting with them, which I really like because sometimes I'm sitting at tables with people I don't know as well. So without being able to use technology, I actually get to interact with them and learn a little bit more.
Carson basically hit on the big ones. One thing I will add about cell phones is I know the question talked about walking around. Will you see people on their phones? I think it would be unrealistic to say no, like we never go on our phones when we're walking around. You'll definitely see somebody checking their phone really quickly in the hallway. But I will say, like, the student body, even without it being a rule, does a really good job of like, we all try to keep our heads up. We all try to talk to each other in the hallway, even if you've never talked to a person before. Everyone kind of like tries to take their AirPods out if they're walking in the hallway. So it's rare that you see a lot of cell phone usage in the halls, but it's not impossible.
How about AI?
I can start with AI. In our school, we have a new policy for AI this year, which says like as long as you have a specific permission from your teacher, you can use AI. And what I really like about it is that like you just don't like think AI is a bad thing. Like, for teachers who think it's gonna help students, grow better with the help of AI, like, they allow the students to use it in a specific way that they can actually accelerate their learnings. And one class I had, it was my English class, and he really liked when students interacted with AI. So like I got to have an experience of, interacting with AI in like humanity class, and that was really like I guess like inspiring moment of like how much AI can help me rather than like blocking me from learning stuff.
And to add on to that, I would say the teachers really want AI to be used as a tool, not to help students really like cheat themselves. And that's really strong with our honor code here at Episcopal. But in like classes for chemistry last year, our teacher had us had like an AI Monday where we got to learn and really like use the tool to help us make a study guide and to ask questions, but to also like make sure we're asking our teacher to like make sure this is fact checked. And it really actually helped, I feel like, with me to get more in-depth reasoning and responses to questions that I had that maybe during a class period wasn't the right time to ask. So I think teachers really use it in a great way to help our students really learn even more about what we're learning. And then AI as a tool in general, because that will be obviously used in years to come in other school systems and work. So I do think that Episcopal and the teachers do a great job with introducing us to AI and using it as a tool.
Thank you. I've seen some questions about the transition to Episcopal. So maybe I'll frame it this way. When students come here, or when you came here, did you have any struggles? Was there anything that was hard about the transition to boarding school or to EHS in particular? And maybe speak a little bit about student support. And when you have some of those struggles, either in the transition or even if you've been here for a long time and are very comfortable, how do students get support here? What kind of supports are there? So maybe Burnham and Cover, transitioning to Episcopal and transitioning to boarding school, struggles that you might have experienced yourself or you've seen or in friends, and then what kind of supports are there for students here?
Yeah, I got it. I came in as a new sophomore. Originally, my freshman year, I was at an all-boys boarding school in Asheville, North Carolina, and I didn't really like it. It wasn't all boarding, so like kind of the weekends were kind of dead. So me and my friend, we both transferred here together. And so I had a friend coming in, which was really nice, but we were on different dorms. And so I didn't really get to see him much. And one of the things, like the support systems that really helped me was just senior monitors on dorm. And those are people who are elected by your peers. There's junior prefects as well, and they kind of run dorm life and make sure everything is going well, make sure people are living together cohesively, make sure the dorm is running smoothly. But then they're also there to check in with, new freshmen, new sophomores, make sure they're getting adjusted to life, help them with anything they need help with. And one guy in particular, his name is William Custard. I was on the tennis team with him. He was just a great guy, always invited me to go hang out and, hit with him when nobody else would. And one thing I love that we started this year is called the senior buddy system. So when we come into school, seniors get paired with freshmen, and you really get to build a one-on-one personal relationship with them. Like you have one-on-one meetings. My buddy's name is Thomas. I played soccer with him. We go to the center sometimes. It's just a great way to get to know that freshman class, and for the freshmen to get to know the seniors, it just become connected as a whole.
Cover, anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I came in as a freshman, and my older sister was a senior when I was a freshman, so I automatically felt like I had some sort of support here, being able to hang out with her. At the same time, I would say personally, I had a little bit more struggles in not freshman year than like throughout my time here. And when you're having those kind of like personal issues or just anything that you're struggling with, it's really great that we have so many support systems on campus. Burnham kind of touched on the monitors and prefects on dorm. I'm a monitor, and I was a prefect last year, and they're basically like the liaisons between the dorm faculty and the students that live on dorm. They're like big brother, big sister figures on dorm, which are really helpful. And then I'd also say that advisors are just really, really great support systems. You have an advisor when you come in your freshman year, you get placed into a random advisory, and then after that, you rank teachers that you would like as your advisor, and then you get placed into an advisory based off of that. I love my advisor. He's a great support system for me. I know anything that I need help with or anything that I'm struggling with, I can go and talk to him about. And I'd just say that definitely leaning on your advisors, leaning on any faculty at Episcopal is really important and kind of, I guess, crucial to having a successful time here.
Great. Let's see a interesting question here. What is your favorite EHS tradition? And so I think we better get everybody to hit this one really quickly. So starting with Burnham, heading all the way down to Margaret again. Just quickly, your favorite tradition at EHS, Burnham?
Favorite tradition, got to be the Woodbury game. Just love it. It's electric. It's the most people I've ever seen at a high school football game. The vibes are high. Rivalry. It's been the longest I think ever. I'm pretty sure, and it's just so exciting each year.
Our entire Spirit Week around that event is as a series of events leading all the way up to that event at that activity on Saturday. Carson, what tradition do you like?
I was going to say the Woodbury game as well, but another one I really like is mass meetings. So we have those periodically throughout the year, and it's basically the cheerleaders, which are kind of senior like pep rally figures in the community. They gather, and we gather in like our field house, and it's kind of like basically like kind of a rave for 15 or 20 minutes, and it's usually before a big weekend of sporting events or some other kind of big moment throughout the year.
Cover.
Those are also like really great traditions, but one of mine is like it's more low key, but my favorite traditions are the seated meals that we have. So basically on Wednesday nights and Monday lunch, you come in, you sit with your advisory in the dining hall and you share a family style meal with them, and it's just a really great community moment.
Joe.
For me, it'll be Fired Up Thursdays. It's like a community meeting where all of us gather and they introduce like all the games that's gonna happen this week, and we all get fired up to support our teams. Like regardless if you're JV or varsity or junior team, we all just clap for each other and just get fired up. I think that's like one of my favorite traditions.
Great. And Jordan and Margaret.
I would say mine is Seminary Hill Cup. So it's actually happening this weekend. It's when all of our girls sports, JV and varsity, go against all of St. Stephen, St. Agnes, which is a school about 5 minutes away from here. They also verse us. They are also on the hill. So we play them in every single sport, and it usually takes about Friday afternoon to nightish, and then all day Saturday. And it's just a lot of fun to see everybody come out, especially to support girls' sports as a whole. Like it's a weekend where girls get to feel empowered and it's not really about anybody else.
And I would say Spirit Week, it's the week leading up to the game. Every class, every person gets to dress up according to themes for the week. And I think it's a fun activity where students really get to show their support and their excitement for the game coming up. And I would say that's probably one of my favorites.
I see a question about service learning, service in the community, service on campus, service in the community. Can a couple of you talk about service at Episcopal?
I can go first. So you do have a service requirement at Episcopal. This year has been slightly shifted where you're required to do 3 events in the first semester and then 3 events in the spring semester. And I would say you get an opportunity almost every week to do service, whether that be student garden, or we have a lot of students who help out with like a pumpkin patch in the fall, or my personal favorite, about almost every Sunday we go to Keen, which is basically working in the greater DC area with students with special needs. And you get to go and you go play on a playground. I know I went one time and we did like a bunch of arts and crafts, and then like they put it up on all of their fridges at home. One day we had a really big kickball game, and it's just super fun to go out and work with people that like not necessarily don't go to EHS, but getting to see each other in a different light and getting to work towards something bigger as a whole is a lot of fun.
Opportunities to study abroad at Episcopal. Would someone take that question?
I can take that question. So we do have opportunities to study abroad for multiple languages. Three ones that I think I can talk about are the French exchange trip, the Spanish exchange trip, and the Austrian exchange trip. All of these trips happen and so our students will go to these places and they'll learn there for a time, usually like in the summer. And then the students that they exchanged with and lived with in those areas will come back either the next school year to stay. And the Spanish exchange students are actually here right now. So last summer, a group of students went to Sevilla, Spain, and they lived with host families, and now their exchange students are coming and living with us here at Episcopal. Personally, I take Chinese, so we have not had an exchange trip where we go to China, but we have had Chinese exchange students come stay with us, and I've done that for the past 2 years, which was really exciting. And I think these trips are really great. Even if you're not able to go on a trip, me just having the experience of being able to connect with somebody from a different country and learn about their culture is really, really informative.
Thank you, Cover. Hey, Carson and Margaret, I'm seeing questions about getting help. How do you get help from teachers? Can you see teachers outside of class? If you need some extra help, how do you get it in terms of your academics, Carson and Margaret?
Yeah, so at Episcopal, we have what's called office hours 3 times a week. So that's Tuesday afternoons, Wednesday mornings, and then Thursday afternoons. And those are basically times where teachers are all in their classes, and they're basically waiting for students to come by with questions, who need help, or if they just want to like do the homework during that class. So I know tomorrow I'm going there for some math help and calculus. And it's just helpful because you know that 3 times a week, if you're really struggling with a topic, you can go and it's dedicated time. So they're going to be like fully working with you. And, you can take the full 45 minutes to work through a topic if you need to, or you can hit multiple classes. So it's just nice that Episcopal builds that into our schedule so that there's so many opportunities.
You also have, adding on to that, tutors at night. So during study hall, everyone can sign out from their dorms to go to a tutor for math and science, writing center, or history tutors. So I'm actually a history tutor, so I will be on duty once a week, and students will come in asking for help. Also, if you're a freshman, you have freshman study hall in Townsend for the first half of the semester. So students have designated tutors for them, so freshmen can go from their study groups to go get help. And also on dorm, teachers will offer either study help or sessions, or just like if you need help, just like come by. And I know I'll go to teachers on different dorms to get help if they're having like information about maybe a test coming up or an essay. So teachers are really always there to help you because most of our faculty live on campus, which is really helpful.
Thank you. See some questions about clubs and then weekend activities. So Burnham and Joe, why don't you guys take clubs at Episcopal, and how about Jordan and Cover talk after that, talk a little bit about the weekend activities we have. Burnham and Joe, clubs.
Yeah, so I am the founder and leader of Bible Club here at EHS, and it's we meet every Thursday night at 7 in the chapel just to like help other people with their faith who want to grow in that. And so we usually read a chapter a night, and then we split off into groups where we talk about it as a community and how we can, introduce our faith in everyday life, and how we can, just make Episcopal a better place. And we'll do that through readings. Then we'll have prayer at the end and sometimes worship. Then we'll host other events like Sunday morning worship sometimes. And then another club I just started this year is called Chocolate Milk Club, and it's just for fun. Like we just get together to drink chocolate milk. But yeah, if there's not a club here, you can start it. Like, go for it.
Yeah, adding on to Burnham, it may not be as cool as Chocolate Milk Club, but I also made a club here, Astronomy Club. I'm really into like stars and stuff, and like this club is not only about like studying the star, but also like just hanging out with friends under like a celestial event, and it was really cool to see how all the other people also share the same interest. And yeah, it's just like Burnham said, like if you want to start something, you can really easily start the club. And another thing is that there's like clubs that like the school made. Like one of it that I'm part of is ACE. I don't exactly recount what it stands for, but it's like for Asian culture and like this kind of stuff. Um, yeah, and like there we sometimes hold like dinners and like snack parties where we can get some Asian food and Asian snacks, and a lot of also non-Asian students come and learn a lot about Asian culture, and it's really cool.
Thank you. We have over 60 clubs this year, to you prospective students, that are student run. Some are much more active than others. And so as you heard, if you have an interest in starting a club here yourself, you can even start the Chocolate Milk Club, or another club like it, whatever you're interested in, whatever your passion is. And Cover and Jordan, weekends. What do weekends look like here for students?
The weekends really vary. A lot of times, we have these two things called open weekends and community weekends. So community weekends are really just weekends where we focus on building community and hanging out with the community. So that's when students are typically going to stay on campus during the weekend, and we'll have lots of events. Like Joe mentioned, ACE hosts lots of events. So one time we had like a movie and snack night hosted by ACE, which was really cool. We'll also have events like inflatable games, which happens in the beginning of the school year, where we just get a bunch of inflatables and flip in and everybody just hangs out. But on the weekends, we are also allowed to go into DC, or if you're local like me, you can go home. Like this weekend, I hung out on campus on Friday, and then on Saturday, I had some friends come over to my house for dinner. And so, being local on the weekends, it gives you a little bit more flexibility, which I really like. But no matter who you are or where you live, the weekends are always a really fun time at Episcopal.
So we're coming into our last few minutes here. I see a great question here is how did you end up deciding it was Episcopal for you for high school or for your last 3 years of high school? I guess I'll start there with Jordan and Carson. How did you decide it was going to be Episcopal versus other boarding schools?
For me, I would say location was a huge part of it. I think when you are applying to Episcopal, you hear a lot about MRC and everybody's going to DC. And it's nice to hear, but when I came to visit, it was really nice to see. I know on one of my visit days, they actually took us into DC so we could really see how close we're going to be. And touching on to what Cover said about like the open weekends, it would for me, it was really nice to be able to know that like I get to explore all these places. And it also opened a lot of opportunities for me. Like I've been able to go look at Howard University, for senior college things going on. I've been able to look at GW, and it's never too far. And these are like schools I wouldn't be able to look at being from New Jersey because I can't really drive the 3 hours on a random Sunday. So location was my biggest thing for me.
For me, a big thing was the MRC program. So kind of we touched on the flex blocks earlier, but also bringing in speakers. So we've brought in Paul Ryan, who was a former Speaker of the House. We've brought in a lot of social and business leaders in the DC area. And then another thing I think was coming from Canada, knowing that it's 100% boarding, that if I was living on dorm, I wouldn't be the only one, or it wouldn't be like a 20% school that boards. And everyone kind of sharing that dorm life aspect really sold me on Episcopal.
A neat question here that I'll throw out Margaret and Burnham's way. What's the school library like here? Is it used very much?
I can start with that. So I know I use the library a lot, either during study hall or office hours. And for freshmen, during office hours, they have to be in the library unless they're checking out to go see a teacher. But the library is always used if you walk in during your free period or at night. Multiple people are always there getting their work done in either study groups or just by themselves. So the library is a really great place to really calm down and like focus in and do your work. So I would say it is used all the time.
And then touching up on that, like let's just say you live with someone, your roommate's annoying you, right? And you just want to, get some peace of mind. You can go to the library, you can reserve rooms for certain periods of time if you need it from 8 to 10 or 8 to 9. And there's private study rooms, and you can go in there by yourself with a group of people and just study. Library accessibility is open to juniors and seniors throughout the whole year, and then sophomores for second semester. So that way it doesn't get too crazy or too packed. But it's quiet. It's quiet there. It's a good place to study at night. I love going there. It's also a good place to just hang out with friends and see them. But I personally love the library. I use it like it's like a library. It's got books. I'm not really reading them there, but it's fun. I like studying there.
Cover, and then maybe Joe, just describing a regular day, the daily schedule here. What does a day at Episcopal look like for students here? Cover.
So it really varies day to day. I can kind of just go about what I did today, but basically, you wake up, go to breakfast. Um, I highly encourage going to breakfast just because, what else is a better way to start your day? But, then you go to class. Usually we have 3 or 4 classes a day, two in the morning, then you go to lunch, and then you have either 3 or 2 classes, yeah, 2 or 3 classes afterwards. And then some students have a free period. I had a free period today, and I utilize my free period by either studying or I'm a tour guide ambassador, so I'll give tours sometimes during my free period. After school, like the school day is over, we have a little bit of free time from 3:15 until 4, and then from 4 to 6, everybody's in their afternoon options. I do sports media, so I go out, film the games, commentate on games, things like that. And then you're pretty much free for the rest of the night until study hall from 8 to 10. And then, go to bed and get ready to do it all again tomorrow.
And Joe, can you just add on about the, what other meetings do we have during the week outside of class, either all students together or in small groups?
Yeah, so as long as I remember we have three chapels every week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And yeah, in chapel we all the community gathers, and we just sing some songs and listen to some speakers. It's pretty fun. And also on Thursdays, including Fire Up Thursday, the school makes a lot of announcements where the whole community gathers again and make some important announcements and do some Fire Up Thursdays. And also on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we also have some club meetings where the club members can gather up, do meetings, plan out stuff. And at the same time, I'm a dorm leader here, and we also have meetings um, pretty often. And on Monday nights, we have this thing called dorm meetings where, dorm goes through like a lot of logistics throughout the week and maybe do some social games, and it's really fun. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, our time's gone very quickly. Prospective students and families, we're glad that you joined us here to hear from our student leaders here this evening, and we wish you all the best as you are looking for your high school adventure. And I'm going to give it back to Mr. Conklin here before we move on to the teacher faculty presentations for the evening. Thank you, EHS students.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Spears, and thanks to all the students. Great job. It's hard to believe you're seniors already. We're going to savor these last 8 months together. We're going to transition now to our faculty panel. So we have 6 faculty members that will be joining us. You'll hear from Mr. Spears again, and Mrs. Kim Sr. is going to put up her screen, I believe. We've got a little some slides to share. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ebel to get us started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nate Ebel, and I am the assistant head of school for academics. And I have been at Episcopal for 16 years and done a little bit of everything in my time here. And one of the reasons that I like doing these events, these virtual events with the student panel beforehand, is that I always learn something new. So I'm thrilled to know that we have a chocolate milk club. I didn't even know what was missing until I heard about that. So glad to hear about that. What I'm going to do is basically give you all kind of a very broad overview of our academic program and give you a sense of what the academic realm looks like at Episcopal, and hopefully touch on some of the things that I saw in the chat in terms of questions. And so when I'm describing the EHS course of academic study, I like to think of it as sort of foundational years to independent years. And over the course of a student's time here, in their 9th grade year and their 10th grade year, we cover a lot of core skills and knowledge, sort of use that as the foundation for jumping off into the junior year and senior year, where students have a little bit more independence and have developed a sense of what is really interesting to them, and a number of courses that allow students to sort of pursue those interests. And so as they move through their time here, we want to make sure that everyone has the sort of fundamental grounding, but then we also want to provide independence in the junior and senior years. And so we have over 140 different courses here. So a lot of classes, a lot of really interesting electives in those upper levels that students are working towards. I saw in the chat a question about languages. We actually offer 8 different languages for study: Spanish, French, German, Latin. Greek was not in the answer in the chat, so I'll throw that in. Chinese as well. And then we also actually are a member of Global Online Academy, which offers Arabic study and Japanese as well. And so we have students studying different languages from all over the world. And really our program is mirrored around this idea, sort of foundational skills to independence. And so we see that mirrored even in things like our study hall. Our 9th grade students have a lot of oversight during study hall. They're working in classroom settings with a proctor for the first half of the year. And then in the second half of the year, they're moving to their dorm rooms that are overseen by the dorm faculty. And then in sophomore year, students are in dorm rooms studying, and in the second half of the year, they're able to sign out to the library. And then junior year, students are signing out to the library or anywhere on campus to get their studying done. And by the time our students are seniors, we really expect that they can manage their own time, and we don't have any requirement for them, but they have plenty of work to do, and they know by that time, obviously, how to handle their workloads. I would also just, because it came up in the chat, I'd make a point of addressing AI and the way that we think about that as well. Our use of AI in the 9th and 10th grade years is very limited, and when we do, it's very guided by the faculty. And then as we move into our junior and senior years, that's where our teachers are encouraged to help kids learn how to use AI as a tool, as Margaret said, and see what kind of capabilities it offers for learning. And our goal in all of it is to enhance learning, not shortcut it. So we talk a lot about the role that AI plays in learning. And when I think about our academic program, it is a really unique academic experience. And obviously, some of the students touched on this, but our proximity to DC and our use of DC as a classroom has a big role in that. And so, students are able to get really deep learning in the classroom, but then they have that opportunity to go out into the DC region and learn as they're doing. And I think, when I think about why EHS academics, I think, you can take AP US history any place in the country, learn that content. It's going to be more or less the same content, and frankly, the same skills. But here, not only are you learning those skills and that content, but you're getting the experience of going to Mount Vernon, of going to actually see the Constitution, of going to the Capitol, of going into DC. Our advanced US history courses take about 6 to 8 flex blocks during the year. And so you really do get the best of both worlds in both the classroom world and in the real world of DC. And so a lot of really cool and interesting ways of learning in DC that happen. I always like to highlight our faculty, which is an incredible group of adults who will expose our students to all different modes of learning. While here, our students will sit around a Harkness table. They will experience lecture classrooms. They will experience flipped classrooms, and they will get a healthy dose of experiential learning. And so no matter what kind of learning is taking place, our students are guided by our faculty, and then really prepared for whatever might come after high school in that realm. Our academic culture, I think you may have gotten a sense sort of hearing from the students. This is a place that values both achievement and character in the classroom. And so when I think about our kids in the classroom, it is a really rigorous academic experience by the time they are juniors and seniors. But it's also a really supportive environment. And I say that of both teachers and of students. This is not a cutthroat, competitive environment for our students. It's very supportive. And when you walk around campus, when you walk through the library, you see kids, collaborating, working together, studying together, and all being supported by our amazing faculty. And actually, Scott, I'll have you go to the next, or Toronto, I'll have you go to the next slide. What I think, again, makes the academic program so unique is what you heard a number of students refer to the McCain Ravenel Center for Intellectual and Moral Courage. And really, what the MRC, in short, that center does is help us put our learning and our leadership into the real world. They help teachers plan flex blocks, and as you heard, our classes took over 670 trips into DC last year on learning experiences that are incorporated fully into the courses themselves. And so teachers design these experiences. They do pre-learning in advance. They are able to go to really unique places. learn there and then reflect upon their learning. And so, though it's not all go-karts and trampoline parks, we have a lot of different types of learning moments. And even just to highlight our 21st Century Civics class, which is our ninth grade civics course. This week, actually, we'll have sort of civics day in which they will wake up and they will all go down to the mayor's office in Alexandria to speak with the mayor of Alexandria and learn about local politics. And they'll be there for about an hour in conversation with Mayor Gaskins. And from there, they will go actually to the Supreme Court, where they will be able to have a tour of the Supreme Court and then a private audience with Justice Jackson for an hour as well. And then they will return to school in the afternoon by 1 o'clock after a full day of learning in the city and be able to sort of debrief and reflect upon what they've learned. And all of this sort of comes about through the McCain Ravenel Center, who again really work to put learning into the real world. And so just a couple of highlights. I would say that our classes fully utilize the DC theater scene. We are all over. Obviously, there are tons of museums and cultural sites that we're able to access, but the learning really takes place all over the city. And then one thing I would also highlight is that the McCain Ravenel Center also works with students in their senior year, particularly, to go into the city and get externships. And that's a unique program where almost every single one of our seniors in the month of May of their senior year are working in DC or in some hybrid fashion, learning sort of about different areas of the DC economy. We have students who are in every single sector, whether it be politics, environmental engineering, all sorts of, finance, all sorts of sectors. Our kids are working and learning about the real world, and that is all sort of made possible through the McCain Ravenel Center. And so really unique learning opportunities along the way, not just in the classroom, but out in the real world as well. And I'm going to stop now and pass it back to Mr. Spears, who's going to talk a little bit about student life.
All right. Hi again, everybody. And thanks again for joining tonight. I would start by saying I'm someone who's had a couple of boys attend Episcopal High School. I have been a ninth grade advisor, a 10th grade health class teacher. I've been a varsity softball coach here. And then as assistant head for student life, I get to work with terrific students like the ones you just met in our opening session, and then some of these awesome faculty members here tonight in this session, like our director of arts, our director of athletics, our head chaplain. And so when we talk about student life, we're talking about the stuff you hear on the screen, those co-curricular pieces that go along with the academics that Mr. Ebel just talked about. And really what we're talking about are relationships. We're a school that prizes values and embraces our relationships, colleague, teacher to teacher. Yes, but student to student, yes, but teacher to student. For us in particular, you're talking about a lot of committed educators here, people who've chosen boarding school. Around 100 faculty members live right here on campus, and so faculty homes can be an extension of the student experience here. And I think there's over 50 faculty dogs on the campus, right? And so our lives intertwine in any number of beautiful ways with student life here, from dormitory around the campus and to our homes. And so we're talking about a strong community, I think, and one that is very supportive of students. And we have medical support here. You see this last bullet on this slide, we've got a 24/7 health center. We have our own school doctor and a cadre of warm and caring nurses to help with medical issues. In our health and wellness center, we have a yoga studio and a quiet room. We've got overnight accommodations for when students need them. We've got spaces for private counseling either with our EHS, our 3 full-time EHS counselors, or for students who have counseling meetings with their own private counselors. We have over 60 advisors on our faculty. Let's see, 5 deans, 2 chaplains as well. We want you as students here to be supported and known along the way, and we want to make sure that we help you have the best possible experience here. And I think that kind of captures the whole, the student life experience here. And so I'll go to the next slide there. Where you'll see the Health and Wellness Center that I was just talking about on your right in this slide. And then these in the bottom left, we've got 10 awesome dorms, but those 2 on the bottom left are our newest dorms. We opened them about 2.5 years ago. And those are places that I think students would say a lot of the life of Episcopal happens on dorm with their friends. I think the students that you just heard from in session 1 we're talking about, there's kind of a permanent sleepover effect going on, and a lot of the life in a boarding school for a student happens right on dorm, and a lot of great memories are built there. So we're very proud of those 2 new dorms that you see right there. And so in student life, really, you're talking about robust athletics and arts and outdoor activity, and you're talking about friendships and lifelong friendships and fun right here in the nation's capital and in Old Town Alexandria. And so our student life experience goes right along with the academics that Mr. Evil was talking about, and we're very proud of our student life experience. And we hope you'll continue to learn more about Episcopal and us and what we do around campus here all the time. And I think that I'm turning it over at this point to Mr. Smith. To our chaplain, Rev C, who, yes, Reverend Carmody. Yes.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Betsy Carmody, and I serve here at Episcopal as head chaplain. This is my 12th year here at Episcopal, and I was initially hired as assistant chaplain and then have become head chaplain, in my quest to dominate the world. No, I'm just kidding. But just my quest to really be here and serve alongside you all. This is a place that's not only nurtured me as a professional, but also nurtured my family. My daughter just graduated last year and is now off living her best life at college. And so it's really cool to work in a place that has kind of been a big part of our family. As one of the students mentioned, we do have chapel 3 times a week. And really what chapel is it's this time when we really get to name and claim who we are as a community and who we want to be as a community. We're a religiously diverse space with students from all over the country and all over the world and from all different backgrounds. I love that some of you are, you're really considering coming and really getting your empathy muscles working and being at a place where you're going to live closely with people who are different than you are. And you're going to learn a ton about yourself in the process. At Chapel, we try to represent all the traditions that we have here. Of course, we are an Episcopal school, which is a Christian denomination, and that's, I'm an Episcopal priest, and so that's a part of our past and our present. But I will say, as a chaplain, I've really chosen to come here and stay here and not work at a parish because I love the intersectionality here at Episcopal. I love the opportunities to always learn more from my students and colleagues in ways that we can more deeply serve and represent our populations here. It, as I say to prospective families, is not my job to create little Episcopalians. That's not my gig. My gig is really to walk with students where they are while they're here. And I love that we're an independent school, so we get to talk about your spiritual self, that spiritual part of your life, which is a part of who you are. And how can we help you ask the big questions of who am I? Why am I here? Where do my skills meet the needs of the world? And that's the things that we wrestle with all the time in those chapel spaces. We'll also have visitors who come onto campus. We have once a month Vesper services that are a little bit longer, and it's an opportunity to hear from others, but it's also an opportunity to create some really fun temples of services here in our community. Like our service right before spring break has become music vespers. And so students and faculty will talk about a particular song that they love, what it means to them. And then we have a band of student and adult musicians who play together and play the song. And it's this beautiful way to be like, we have made it to break. Good job, everybody. And let's celebrate something that really touches a lot of us really deep in our souls. So it's just been a wonderful opportunity to be here. And oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention, we really want to help you continue. If you have a faith life kind of already going, you've got some things that you already want to continue. We're about trying to get you to those places. So whether that might be a church off campus, mosque, synagogue, other things like that. We're supporting students right now on High Holy Days, fasting during Ramadan, all of these things. We want you to continue to feel connected to that part of yourself. And we want that to be something that it's easy for you to continue here at school. So I'm open for any questions about that at any time. I'm an email away. But I don't know who I'm throwing it to. Where am I going next, Ms. Kim? Senior. Yes,
That's
Mr.
me.
Smith, Opportunity and Equity.
Thanks, Betsy. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody. I am Lewis Smith. Some of you will probably learn to address me as Mr. Smith. I'm our director of the Office of Community and Equity. I'm just starting my 5th year in this role. It's my 14th year here at Episcopal. I've got 3 sons who graduated from Episcopal, 2 daughters who are not quite here yet. But I say that by way of saying, I love this community. It's an amazing place to be, and I've learned a lot about it in my time here. We have this challenge that I think a lot of schools have, and it's maybe we're in a unique position to address it because it's 100% boarding, but we have people here from all over the world, all over the country, and with those different places, those different backgrounds, different religions, different races, any sort of identity you can imagine, come a whole range of sort of cultural norms. And they're different. Not one is right, not one is wrong, but the challenge there is how do we find a common denominator where everybody is sort of on the same page in terms of how we treat each other. Everything from language to customs to what kind of humor is okay, those sorts of things. And that's really the challenge before us here at Episcopal High School, and that's sort of my job. How do we get everybody into that sense that this is really my home? Not just that I'm welcome here, but that this is actually my home. And Nate was talking a little bit, or Mr. Ebel was talking a little bit about moving from a foundational basis on to sort of an independence. And we start that process with our 9th graders with a very sort of new, but also pretty exciting program that teaches them about this notion of community responsibility. How do I take responsibility for myself? How do I take responsibility for the community around me? And from there, they can learn, they learn about leadership as they get older, and they can become these sort of empathic leaders of our community. And that's really essential for preparing them for the world that we live in. Probably the biggest challenge right now is all the noise that's out there. There's actually, I think, some money to be made through division, through pulling people apart. And that makes the challenge all the more pointed for us. But again, we've got an amazing faculty who can help us with some pretty amazing programming that we put in place. We do a whole bunch of professional development with our adults. And if you have questions about, particulars on that, I can talk about it. We hire amazing people to come here and work at Episcopal High School. And really what that enables us to do is model for students what we want this treatment to look like. All the work that I do, and there's a lot of noise about what DEI actually means, what does equity mean? Nate mentioned, and I think Phil might have touched on this too. We're kind, we're not overly competitive, we're not overly cutthroat. But at the same time, that doesn't mean everybody gets a trophy. We are about working hard. We are about making sure that you learn some skills, you get to test those skills, but it's got to be fair. We need to make sure that no one has sort of an unfair advantage in terms of competition. And that applies to the way we access community as well. We've got to make sure that everyone has access to the same resources that other folks have access to. And that's really our approach to equity, and making sure that all of our students have that sense that they belong here. We do that through sort of, in a broad sense with our students, we have a kind of a 1-2 punch when it comes to issues of identity. We have our affinity spaces, which are set up around identity. And those are students who, if you're a Black student, you would go to a Black affinity space. If you are Pan-Asian, you might go to the Pan-Asian space. But following on the heels of that, we also have what are called culture clubs, which are also set up around certain identities or certain cultures. And those groups are open to anybody. And the idea there is that we're all welcome and we want to share our culture with other people. We want to make sure that we bring everybody sort of under the tent. The interesting thing there is that there are studies that show students who participate in affinity spaces where they learn to appreciate all parts of their identity rather than trying to conform to a certain mold are much more likely to participate meaningfully in the larger community that surrounds them. So we sort of build on that model in terms of moving forward. I won't say that everything we do here or that every student comes in perfect, and that's not how we expect our students to be. None of our adults are perfect. What we try to do is understand people as people, work with them on their mistakes, work with them on their weaknesses, and build strength that way. And we have found a pretty good deal of success there in terms of building this notion of having a community where everyone feels this sense of belonging. And if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer them a little bit later. I think I'm going now to Jen, is that right?
That's right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Fitzpatrick. I serve as the Director of Athletics. This is my 19th year at Episcopal, and in addition to my administrative role, I have coached girls lacrosse, girls soccer, a little bit of girls basketball, and I serve as an advisor for 9th grade girls and work on the 9th grade dorm team. Here you can see the breadth of all of the offerings that are part of our afternoon option program. For many students, the afternoons involve an athletic commitment, and you can see some of the different offerings that are offered for athletic credit versus those that might not be offered for athletic credit. Athletics are very much a part of the fabric of everyday life at Episcopal. Each student's required to participate in 6 seasons of athletics to graduate. Most participate more than 6 seasons. Every student is required to participate in an afternoon option in each of the 3 seasons. And on the athletic side, we have 52 teams in 19 different sports, lots of different options. And in addition to those interscholastic offerings, there's a number of non-competitive options. Annually, about 20% or more of the senior class goes on to compete at the college level. And seasonally, 85 to 90% of students are participating in an afternoon option that offers athletic credit. For many of those are students who are involved in interscholastic teams. We are consistently fielding JV sports in most of those sports, and are lucky to have fantastic facilities. I think hopefully if you're able to get a chance to visit campus, even if you can't, you're perusing the website, our facilities are top tier. It's sitting in our athletic center right now. The athletic center is a fantastic new addition. It was built and opened in 2010. And most recently, we added a $5 million golf building that includes 4 simulators and a putting area. And that's a great option, not only for our golfers, but for novice golfers, students who want to learn to golf and have that be a part of their high school experience. Our outdoor facilities are exceptional. We have international teams practicing here on our Bermuda grass fields, NWSL women's teams. We have FIFA teams who are coming from all over the globe who are looking to practice on our facilities. And those offerings that aren't able to practice on campus, and there's a very limited number because we're in this metropolitan area, have some great resources. Our crew team rows in the Occoquan River, which is just 20 minutes away. Our climbers are over at Sport Rock. And then our swimmers are just across the street. Alexandria City High School is literally footsteps away and has a pool that we use. I think one of the things that's special about Episcopal, in addition to the facilities, is that proximity to DC, and you'll hear about it from lots of people in lots of different ways. For our more competitive athletes, that often provides an opportunity to continue participating on a local club team or an AEU program, and that's something that you can certainly do in addition to your afternoon option experience at Episcopal. And if that's something that's of interest to you, I would encourage you to speak with an admissions officer. Let me know if you have questions about how that balance might work for you, but we have lots of students who are doing that. The programs that we offer on campus, lots of people have talked about it tonight, but our greatest and most important resources is those adults who are working with student athletes. We've got really healthy staffed athletics department and over 100 coaches And all of our teams, with very few exceptions, have at least one faculty or staff coach on that coaching staff. If you are able to get to campus, and fall is a great time to visit, I hope that you get a real sense that Episcopal and some of our traditions are a really big part of our culture and our community. We want to compete, but we want to do it the right way. So there's a definite focus on tradition, sportsmanship, and a supportive culture. And I think a real genuine excitement in students supporting each other. If you're able to come to campus this weekend, we kind of open up with a big event called our Seminary Hill Cup. It's a weekend where we compete against St. Stephen, St. Agnes, a day school right across the street, and it really highlights all of our girls' athletic programs. We're lucky enough that we just added lights on 3 of our fields, so we've been having a series of night games, and over family weekend, we'll have our Friday Night Lights event, which includes a field hockey game and a football game. And then in November every year, we'll trade off traveling to Orange, Virginia to take on Woodbury Forest in football and hosting the Tigers here. And this will be the 124th year of that rivalry. As you go through the admissions process, please be in contact with our coaches. They really want to get to know you. They want to get to know what's important to you and ask lots of questions. And like everyone has shared, please reach out to me if you have questions about our program or what fit might be right for you. And with that, I'm going to pass it along to our chair of the arts department, Mr. Carter.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Carter. I'm the chair of the arts department here at Episcopal. I also serve in many roles like most who work here. I'm a dorm head and I'm the faculty advisor to the discipline committee. I teach instrumental music and audio engineering. But tonight I want to talk to you just about the arts program here. And you can see on the screen, we offer many of the traditional arts that you would think of in a school. We also have a nice digital arts segment. I'm actually sitting in one of the audio labs right now, and we offer a lot of different things for students to not just come here with a passion for, but to find a passion for, things that they may want to try. They may want to dip their toe in something different. Perhaps you already play an instrument, you already act, you dance, you paint, whatever it may be. You can definitely continue to foster that passion and that interest, but you can also try something new. And very much like the other parts and the other people that you've heard tonight, we have beautiful facilities here, full main stage theater, a black box theater, ensemble rooms, full recording studio, so on and so forth. And we have incredible people working here, full-time faculty that teach the classes during the day. Plus we have over 20 adjunct faculty that come in to teach private lessons and master classes here throughout the year. Plus we bring in, for instance, the National Chamber Players, which is the chamber group from the National Symphony Orchestra, performs here 4 times a year. And it's just a never-ending cycle of different artwork and different musicians and performers that come through the space. I know we're short on time, so I'll leave it at that. If we have any questions, as all have said, please feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to speak with you about our program.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Carter, and thanks to all of our faculty members for taking time tonight to talk about all the things that make our program special. And as everyone's kind of referenced, the people are what makes the biggest difference at EHS. We're running short on time. I know it's in the evening and some of our students may have to jump off and get to homework. So I want to do a quick overview of the application process and just some important dates. But in terms of the application, we have 2 common applications that we use, Gateway to Prep Schools or the standard application online. And either one of those is welcome. We don't have a preference for what application you submit. We encourage you to do whatever's easiest for you and your family. There are some schools that only accept Gateway or only accept the SAO. So whichever one is easier for you, we recommend. There are 3 required recommendations. So we have a principal counselor recommendation, which would be an administrator at the school. It could be a grade dean, it could be a middle school head or an advisor. And then also recommendations from the current math and English teachers. We also have optional recommendations. So if there's a coach, another teacher, someone that you're close to outside of school, you can ask to write a letter of recommendation. In terms of the timing of the recommendations, we usually suggest that those are done right after the Thanksgiving holiday, when your teachers have had enough time to get to know you, both as a person and as a student. It's probably a little bit too early in the year to ask for those, but usually the timing, sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, is a good time to reach out to your teachers to ask them for recommendations. We require a transcript, so we want to see the current year and the prior year. So if you're an 8th grade student right now, we would like to see your 8th grade year, how that has started, plus your 7th grade year. For students whose first language is not English, we do require language testing, which could either be the TOEFL, Duolingo, or IELTS. We do require SSAT scores. So this is the second year that we've gone back to requiring the SSAT after being test optional. And this is a test that gives some people anxiety, but it really shouldn't. We do have a holistic application process, and the SSAT scores can be a helpful data point for us, but there are no decisions that are made solely on SSAT scores. And then lastly, the most fun part for our admissions team is the interview, whether that's on campus when you're visiting and doing a campus tour, or whether that's virtual. We love meeting you. We love learning more about your interests and your talents, and hopefully using that time to answer any questions that you have as well. A few important dates, and again, this is just a snapshot tonight of what Episcopal has to offer. There's more that we could share, but an hour is just not enough. And so we hope you take advantage of some of the other open house opportunities. So on Tuesday, November 11th, which is Veterans Day, we'll have an open house on campus, which should be a great opportunity to see Episcopal in action. We do have classes that day. December 6th is our annual Explore Episcopal Open House, which is a chance to dive in a little bit deeper to things that you're interested in. So it's a more interactive open house where students will sign up for academic sessions. So that could be humanities or STEM, or global languages. There's an arts session where you get an introduction to the arts that are offered at Episcopal, and an athletics session as well, where many of our coaches will run clinics or small informational sessions. So that's a great open house as well. Our application deadline is January 15th, as well as that is the time for our financial aid application. There was a question earlier about financial aid. Just about over a third of our students are receiving some form of financial aid. And if affordability is a concern for you, we certainly recommend submitting a financial aid application or reaching out to us to answer any questions that you may have about that. Our notification date is March 10, which is consistent with most boarding schools are sending out decisions on March 10. And then for accepted students, they have until April 10 to make their decision. And we have a revisit day program at the end of March for families to come back and explore Episcopal a little bit more in depth. Sunday evening is more of student life programming, whereas Monday is more of an academic focus where students can shadow classes and go to chapel and lunch and hear from our head of school and another student panel, and a lot of other good pieces of information as you're finalizing your decision. So we're going to end here. I know there are some questions that didn't get answered. If you do have questions, please reach out to us. We're happy to get those answered. We're really excited to meet all of you throughout this process. We hope tonight encourages you to take that next step in terms of reaching out and scheduling your campus tour or interview. And thank you to all of our students and faculty members for joining tonight. Thank you, all of you, for taking over an hour of your time to get us to know a little better. And thank you, and have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.